Welcome to Logan and Utah State University. I'm Darren McAvoy, Extension Forestry Associate here at USU and one of the conference organizers. Welcome to the 2010 Restoring the West Conference, Managing Plant and Animal Conflicts. Thank you for coming. This is our 5th annual Restoring the West Conference. For the Restoring the West, we try to get a mix of academics and managers and a mix of opinions about topics that we all care a great deal about. Even though we are passionate about our fields of work, let's also be respectful of each other and the different opinions that we're going to hear. As the conference organizing chair, I often don't get to hear a lot of the talks. I'm running around behind the scenes, making sure everything is running smoothly. But last year I heard a couple of the talks, and one in particular completely turned my thinking around about a particular ecological subject. And so I think if you listen close over the next few days, that is the best thing that we can hope to provide to you, a different point of view on something that you've been thinking about and working in for years and years. I'd like to thank and acknowledge the conference organizing committee. Mike Kuntz, standing up in the back of the room, is Extension Forestry Specialist here at USU and is my co-chair. Ron Ryle is not able to be with us today. He was feeling poorly, but is one of the conference organizing committee members, as is Paul Rogers, Director of the Western Aspen Alliance, and Frank Howe from the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources, University Liaison. I'd like to also acknowledge Angela Griffith and Kendra McKenna from USU Conference Services, and Ryan Allred from USU Forestry Extension. He's our intern this year. I want to also thank Ryan in advance for stitching together these talks to be archived on our website. All 20 of the speakers that you're going to hear over the next 2 days, their talks will be archived using Breeze or Adobe Connect technology and available on restoringthewest.org. So please share that with your friends. We have over 170 folks registered for today's conference from 10 western states. I'd also like to thank and acknowledge our sponsors: USU Department of Wildland Resources, USU College of Natural Resources, USU Ecology Center, USU Forestry Extension, the Western Aspen Alliance, USDA Forest Service, State and Private Forestry, Utah Division of Wildlife Resources, and the Wyoming Department of Game and Fish. In our ongoing effort to make this an interactive experience, we're featuring a wrap-up discussion each day, hosted today by Frank Howe, and tomorrow, if he feels up to it, by Ron Ryle. This is a moderated discussion where folks have an opportunity to ask questions and make comments about what they heard or about what they didn't hear at the Restoring the West Conference. We invite your participation. Paul Rogers will be moderating this morning's discussions and will now provide us with some more opening remarks.
Thanks, Darren. You probably heard my name enough by now, but I'm Paul Rogers, and I'm the director of the Western Aspen Alliance, and I'm particularly excited about this year's conference because of the diversity of speakers and diversity of participants. So I'm really glad to pull together a lot of different opinions and hope we have some productive discussions that come out of that. Just a little bit of a preamble here. Each year the Restoring the West Organizing Committee explores new topical ideas to feature. This year the collective terms plant and animal conflicts practically jumped out at us. As we work around the West, we see two different types of conflicts brewing in this arena. First of all, there's areas where small populations of wildlife are in need of more habitat or connectivity, and where essential vegetation is degraded or otherwise limited by human actions. Secondly, are instances of large populations of animals that may be impacting broad swaths of vegetation and cover, and thus future habitat for many species. The former tends to grab the headlines, while the latter potentially impacts greater areas. The two-day format of Restoring the West should not in any way indicate a shortage of conflict material, only a consideration for your time. Make no mistake, both types of conflict belie potentially out-of-balance ecosystems and are essentially self-induced and therefore imply some corrective course of action, otherwise known as management actions, towards sustainable futures. Thus, our interest was piqued. Likewise, many of the speakers we invited participated in this conference were natural choices and jumped at the opportunity. Our objective is bringing these sometimes contentious issues to light was to present an open, balanced, and respectful dialogue where action on these important natural resource situations is pressing, but sometimes competing priorities stifle progress. In other words, this year's Restoring the West, we are inviting all parties to the table without pretense to initiate crucial conversations before ecological options are lost. Finally, our collective publics and ecosystems are depending on our best judgments. In the discipline of critical thinking, practitioners are often encouraged to hold oneself to the same rigorous standards of evidence and proof to which one holds one's antagonists. As we open these discussions today, we encourage this sentiment among the participants.